Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, June 14th. It is day 476 of Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. This is Spartan News. I am the Spartan. I wanted to cover off yesterday's military losses for the Russians, and then I wanted to provide you with an update on a brewing civil war between Wagner and the Kadyrovites. So to get started, over the last 24 hours, the Russians no longer have 680 troops participating in the conflict. There's 11 armored personnel carriers that have been taken out, 9 vehicles and fuel tanks, 13 cruise missiles, which is good to see. They're not able to produce that many a month, and the hit rate on them is extremely high by the Ukrainians. 8 tanks that's creeping back up, 1 anti-aircraft warfare system, 17 artillery seems to be right in line with the recent results, 5 special equipment. Special equipment can be anything from bridge laying to mine clearing to radar trucks, command trucks, whatever, that it's hard to categorize. 15 UAVs, 0 warships, 2 MLRS, and still sitting on 1 Kerch bridge, and the total losses just shy of $66 billion. So to get into the Civil War, and I am going to start calling it a civil war because I believe it is going to blow up pretty quick. So to start off with a story that you may or may not have seen on the news, Chechen warlord Ramzan Kadyrov has issued an extraordinary request to Ukrainian authorities for information on his wounded right-hand man, Adam Delmakhanov, a member of the Russian parliament, was reportedly hit in a missile strike in the city of Primorsk on Ukraine's south coast. Zvezda, a Russian channel owned by the defense ministry, confirmed that he had been wounded in what would be the highest profile casualty of the Russian invasion. Mr. Kadyrov, in an extraordinary telegram post on Wednesday, called out to the Ukrainian government to share information about his missing ally, saying he has trouble to contact Delmakhanov directly. The reports come after a barrage of overnight strikes across Ukraine in which 6 people have been killed. A Russian warship in the Black Sea fired 4 missiles at the Ukrainian port city of Odessa, killing 3 people and injuring 13 others. So, there's headline number 1 is Kadyrov's right-hand man, close friend, longtime ally, etc., is rumored to be injured, missing, and or killed. So where is Primorsk? Where did the missile hit? The missile hit right down here on the southern coast of Ukraine. Okay? So now it gets interesting. Kadyrov's right hand, Delmakhanov, is rumored to be killed in Primorsk. He's a member of the Russian State Duma and head of the Chechen branch of Rosgvardia. Kirilo Sazonov reports. Russian media report that Delmakhanov was wounded but alive. So, obviously some questions. That's in Cyrillic, so I can't read that to you. So let's go to the next interesting piece. Ex-commander of the 72nd Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces, Roman Venevitin, who was previously captured by Prigozhin's mercenaries, said that the Prigozhinites handed over the coordinates of Delmakhanov to the armed forces of Ukraine. So this ex-captured Russian commander, who we all heard about, is claiming that Wagner handed over the coordinates of Prigozhin's or Kadyrov's right-hand man to the Ukrainians so that they could take him out. Earlier information appeared online that Kadyrov's ally, blah, 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 died in Ukraine. Translation of Venovitin's statement. This is the captured Russian commander. He was previously captured by Wagner, and he makes this statement. As I said before, in an attempt to discredit me, Wagner PMC spilled about the facts of their own treason. They have collaborated with enemy intelligence before, which is not the first time we've heard this, organizing leaks of locations of our units. And now this has happened again. According to the information I have, excuse me, they have now taken revenge on Ramzan Kadyrov, who had earlier threatened to reveal the sources of Prigozhin's wealth, as he has been on being a food supplier for our army since 2006. Delmakhanov, the right-hand man of the Chechen president, is in serious condition after being shelled by Ukrainian Nazis. The Ukrainian special services who led the priority targets were at work. They worked with precision and very intensively. Unfortunately, the losses were substantial. 12 aircraft were brought in for evacuation, which fortunately worked promptly. The wounded are given, as far as I know, all the help they need. Perhaps at least this incident will finally make it possible to take all necessary measures against Prigozhin personally and other air quote businessmen from the Wagner group who have always used Russia exclusively for personal enrichment, not even shying away from direct cooperation with the enemy. And there's so many layers to this onion. So previously, the Kadyrovites had basically stated that they were a better army, that they were going to come in, clean up Wagner's mess, etc. Wagner then posted, hey, remember Chechen War 1 and Chechen War 2? Because the head of the military branch of Wagner was, and many others in the higher command in Wagner, were in the Russian military, in the Spetsnaz, in the VDV, and invaded Chechnya and would fought against Kadyrov's men in the past. So that's a little troll reminder. So it's now seemed to have stepped up to the point where potentially, if this man is to be believed, and again, this is single source, potentially Wagner is being accused of, suspected of, passing on location information to the Ukrainians to get the Ukrainians to take out Chechen high command. And why would a member of the Duma and Kadyrov's second-hand man be within storm shadow range is beyond me. But there you go. A message appeared online reportedly by the 265th Motor Rifle Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces that seems to confirm their involvement in blowing up the Kakhovka dam. Oh yeah, I wanted to pass this on to you as well. This is just a complete sidebar to that one. Just more and more information comes out about people claiming to know that the dam was either going to blow, that they had a part in it, that they wired it, that they moved some military assets out ahead of time. But and again, this is a single source piece of information, but undoubtedly the blowing up of the dam is an environmental catastrophe, which among other things will not pass Russia by. I think Russia wouldn't give up the chance to do it, is what the translation is. The threat of a large-scale enemy offensive was very great, and Kherson direction had to play an important role in this offensive. So they suspected that Kherson was going to be attacked by the Ukrainians, which I did too. I believed that they were going to cut across the Dnipro in several spots, from the Kinburn Spit all the way up to the Kakhovka Dam, and I believe that was going to be a main thrust their offensive. As I wrote back in November, in that case, an explosion was inevitable. Basically, we have to blow the dam. But we miscalculated a bit, and the consequences of such an uncontrolled action will soon lead to significant territorial losses. So basically, probably wanted to blow the generators, maybe release a little bit of water, do some extra flooding. Turns out they blew the whole dam. They flooded the whole lower mainland. 75% or 70% of what was flooded was Russian-held territory. Russian soldiers were killed. They had to vacate a lot of previously held territory, move the front lines back, and cause themselves a lot of damage and a lot of long-term impacts. Not to mention Ukraine, the environment, etc., potential risks to the nuclear power plant. So yeah, so that's interesting. One more piece of news, and this is just a funny. Here is Uncle Luca. In just 1 week of the counteroffensive, Ukraine lost 40,000 people and 100,000 were wounded, Lukashenko said to Russian TV host Shakabeva. So there you go. Take that for what it's worth. And the last thing I wanted to do was just anybody watching this who's maybe not heard of Jake Bro. Jake Bro is somebody I've been watching since basically the start of the conflict. He's a United States Air Force veteran who served for 6 years as a nuclear and missile operations officer. Knows what he's talking about. He does excellent analysis, excellent reporting. Has had some great guests on, some great interviews that run the gamut. And in yesterday's episode, he kind of stated what I maybe didn't as eloquently state about Ukraine supporting YouTubers being level-headed about losses. Now, when we see Ukrainian equipment lost on the battlefield, especially the Western supplied, high-profile, recently acquired equipment, it's going to happen. You want to see it perform well. You don't want to see anything destroyed, but if it is destroyed, you want to see that it did a great job at keeping people alive that were inside, and which, by all accounts, the equipment has done its job. Some of it's been recovered and repaired and is already back in the battle. Some of it was lost, but it seems like the casualties out of all those vehicles that were hit and lost by mines, ATGMs, Lancet drones, etc., maybe a handful or less of Ukrainian soldiers were lost. So they did their job. Machines are not worth men. And so anyways, I'd recommend that you check out Jake, his channel, subscribe, watch his updates. They're not fluffy. They are very, very focused, very informative. And Jake shows a human side to himself, which I love. Again, I've been brought to tears in private watching certain stories and certain updates and that sort of thing. And he's unashamed to have been brought to tears on camera doing the same thing. So anyways, highly recommend you give him a like, give him a subscribe, watch his show, watch his channel, watch his different posts that he puts out there. And I think you'll be better for it. Anyways, that's my update for this morning. Have a great day. Slava Ukraini.